Hey, welcome back to the channel. I am really glad you're here because today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the projects we have in mind here at the farmhouse. And some of the things I've already started to do, some of it off camera, just to get a feel for what our potential is here. So, as you know, we purchased this 33-acre property. 30 acres behind me is wooded. There's only about 3 or 4 acres here in front of me that's clear. We've got this beautiful meadow, as I like to call it, and one of the first things I want to do this fall, now that the weather is going to start to break soon and we've had this tremendously hot summer, which I've loved. I mean, it's been great. It's just been kind of hard to work in that. But with fall coming, I think it's going to be a good time to start trimming things. You know, the leaves are going to start to fall, so we won't have as thick of brush to work with. But what I've started to do is to walk around the perimeter. We've got, again, this 3-acre meadow, and looking at it, I think if we just clean up the perimeter, which has small growth probably from the edge of the field to where the woods actually starts, there's probably a good 20 or 30 feet of this small growth, and then you get into the actual forest where there's the bigger growth. But you've got this area, again, maybe 20 or 30 feet wide, where the forest has started to encroach on the field. And I think if I just clear this area, I could probably gain another ½ acre, maybe an acre. So that's what we want to do, is to kind of clear up some of that. I've started with some brush piles, and that's because we cleared out an area here for the bees. Instead of putting them out in the field, I just pushed back a little bit, and you can see that nice area there. I just cleared it by cutting the limbs with the chainsaw and using the grapple to stack this up. I don't think I'm going to burn it. I think I'm going to run the wood chipper. I came out here the other day and just had the grapple on the tractor, and I just kind of pushed into the area, clamped down with the grapple, and pulled back. And I found that a lot of these autumn olives, which seem to be really the most pervasive thing taking over the edges of the field, but they don't have a very deep root system. You can see here, I was able to rip that out pretty easy. Here's another piece here. Just seems to have that one long stringy root. So I've learned all about autumn olive. It's something I never knew much about before. It's really a pretty plant, but it's also, like I said, very invasive, and it takes over open spaces, and that's exactly what's happening along this entire perimeter. Most of what I see here is the autumn olive, and that is, you can see the lighter green leaves compared to the darker green, and they're these big bushes. And again, I think they're really pretty, but not something we want to have here. So we're going to work on either pulling them out, that's really a tall one there, or cutting them at the base and just getting rid of them that way. We've cut another couple little openings into the woods, again, just to give us an idea of what our options are and what lies ahead. So there are a couple different elevations here at this property. This is the lower elevation. This drops off going down here. When we were up on the hill just a little bit, it goes up back into the woods that way, and then there is a serious decline dropping off to the stream on the other side. So there's a lot of topographical differentiations here on the property. When Ann and I first visited this property and we were able to walk around and really see the woods and everything, one of the first sights that we saw was here in the meadow, where we came out, we turned around, and we saw this, which is the hill and the house and the barn, and it's just really picturesque and pretty amazing. Even prettier in the winter because all that green was gone and you could see the barn. So again, we're going to clear that fence line to reveal the barn as well. But it was really pretty. There was tall dead grass here, but just a beautiful sight. Let me throw the drone up and I can show you around the perimeter of the meadow exactly what I'm talking about as far as the growth that's encroaching around the boundary line. So here you can see the outer perimeter of the meadow, and along that edge I can probably clear 20 or 30 feet of small growth. So that's what we want to do here, is clear that out. It's a beautiful area. This corner here in the back is smaller, and you can tell it really has been encroached upon, so I think there's good opportunity to clear this one out as well. I am so happy to have this 3-acre meadow. It's the prettiest thing, and I'm so thankful that the former owners never stopped mowing it. They kept it cut at least once or twice a year, and that took care of it, because this spring we mowed it early spring. I guess it was before Memorial Day, and then all the seeds dropped from the trees. Within a month or two before the next mowing, there were maple trees that were probably 18 inches tall in some places. So it goes to show you that if you left this field alone for just a few years, you'd lose it. Back here behind the barn, I started to cut a few trees down, and of course that's when I discovered that hornet nest. So I did take care of that, and they are now inactive. And again, I'm sorry if you have a love for hornets, but I decided to get rid of them. So they're gone, and this is where we want to clear out and get behind the barn here, because this was all clear, you know, a decade ago or less, and it's a nice flat area back here. So I can walk through a little bit, but the plan is to clear all this so we can get, well, so we can actually get to the back of the barn and do some work to clean it up, because it needs attention. Right here is where we had the big oak tree cut down behind the barn, and then yesterday I started clearing the underground gutter drains. We've got at least 3 of them that we found. So this one was completely underground. That's the one where I showed that short video where I pulled out that 8 or 10 foot long root system. So that one's clear now. It drains up to the back gutter. There's another one up front, and then there's another one back here that we also found, and this comes off the other back gutter. This one, you can see there's a tree growing right against the end, so that's probably just trickling out at this point. There's the base of that oak tree, and then I started to clear a little bit of path coming back. The old garden shed is back here. That's where my little snake buddy was found in the box of nails, so just got some garbage here to be cleared out, and started to clear a little bit of path going back, but the actual path going back to the woods is behind the barn, and it runs back there, and it connects with what appears to be like an old service road where they were harvesting gravel or rocks back here. So I'm excited to reclaim that and be able to walk straight back into the woods, because there's a lot of neat area back here. So we've cut down a lot of the lower, smaller trees just to create kind of a walking path, but the idea is to create a path alongside the barn here, and that connects directly to this old, I'm going to call it an access road. I think from this point forward, we'll just call this the access road. But it's a nice trail here. There was a tree laying down across it, so I took the saw out here the other day, and it was laying about 3 feet off the ground, so it was too tall to climb over, too low to climb under, so I just cut it into pieces, so now we can climb over the pieces until I get them out of here. My plan is to open that up. That way I can get the tractor back here with the grapple to move these pieces of log. Obviously cut some firewood. There's a lot of down trees back here. There's some really big ones too, so hate to waste any of that good potential wood. And then keep cutting trail back so that we can at least walk around, but I want to make these big enough that I can get the mule through here, get the tractor through here, and drag things out. I don't think I can capture this well on video, but this is not typical southern New Jersey terrain. This drops off significantly. I mean, I can't even really walk down here. You can see right there, maybe you can. Again, it's difficult to capture these type of things on video, but that's a significant drop, probably steeper than a 45-degree angle. So, and the reason is, again, they mined some rocks and gravel back here, so that these man-made berms where they dug holes, and they didn't clean up after themselves in the 1700s apparently. They just left those berms there. And then down further is the creek. So there's a lot of natural slope, but also some man-made as well. And more area here where I came through and just cut the low limbs just so I could walk without fighting my way through. Here's an example of what we think they mined back here, you know, hundreds of years ago, was this type of sandstone. There are little pieces all over the place back here, especially on the little hills. So the thought is that they were mining these stones, which are used in this area, were used in this area for building foundations, chimneys. It's exactly what is in the basement of this house. It's what the chimney foundation is made out of. So, and some of them are, you know, 2 feet wide. So I think they came back, got the big ones out of here, and this is just the debris that was left behind. I haven't actually seen any wildlife back here, I think because they're good at hiding, but we do see deer tracks, especially down by the creek. Of course, Hachi got skunked, so she found somebody back here at some point. And then there are a good number of groundhog holes, which is not a surprise because we had no less than 7 groundhogs around the house that we had to convince them to move to another home. Anyway, there are a lot of groundhogs back here, and saw some fox recently, some baby fox. So not back here, somewhere up by the road or somewhere. Anyway, there's probably fox back here. We know there's skunk back here. There are deer, and of course snakes. There are a lot of American beech trees back here, and yesterday I discovered some of this, which is odd. I was walking through and it looked like a pile of ash, like somebody had lit a fire here. And then I looked up and I could see that it's coming from up here. And what I learned is this is, I think it's called the Beech Blight Aphid, which is a living creature. They have like a woolly coating on the outside. In fact, they're called the Boogie Woogie Aphid. And that is that they shake when they sense danger. So I'm going to tap this. Look at that. See that I tapped the limb. Look at them go. Doing the boogie woogie. So that's creepy. So right away I checked with our forester, and he said they're not a threat on their own. There may be some beech disease to worry about. And I guess if they are attacking a tree that's diseased, they're gonna kill it. But they mostly live on, this is me looking at the internet, they mostly live on the sap of the small branches and limbs. So that's why he said that they're not really a danger, I guess, unless they completely take over. But the leaves are not in bad shape. They're strictly on those limbs, and there are quite a few of them back here. But apparently what they drop is like a sticky residue, so I didn't touch that stuff that looks like ash. Apparently it's very sticky and annoying. More of a problem in public parks and places like that, because if you have a beech tree over a park bench or sidewalk, they're going to be dropping this. But back here it's not so much of a problem. I am really intrigued by the Boogie Woogie Aphid. I'm going to do that again. That was kind of fun. Let me get a closer shot here, and now I'm going to tap the branch. There they go. They're boogieing. As far as wildlife back here, of course, there's also ticks. Ticks were bad this year in the spring. I would get a few on me, but poor Ann, they like her a lot. She gets a tick every day without even coming back here. But anyway, they like her soft, sensitive skin, I guess, easy to burrow into. So she's had a number of them. But there are ticks, and of course, it's cooler back here in the woods. So right now I've got a lot of mosquitoes buzzing around me as well. So I guess that's going to be one of the benefits of fall and winters. We won't have to worry about mosquitoes and things like that. But as you know, I'm more of a fan of summertime. Where am I? I don't really get lost back here, but you can get turned around a little bit. See, these are the man-made berms again. They were digging out the gravel on each side, and they left this berm. And of course, it was so many years ago. You've got these big trees that have grown up into it. So it's very curious what went on back here, and I wish there was some kind of documentation about it, but I can't really find anything about this property. But it's very interesting. Again, you see all these rocks here. You know, my brother questioned, like, is this an Indian burial ground? You know, was this a grave here? But we kind of ruled that out. But it's just interesting. What's interesting too is that this is really a high area for where we live. I'm like 90 feet above sea level, I think. So I think that's the elevation here. The other house, which is only less than a mile away, I think was at like 10 feet above sea level. So this is quite an elevation. But what's interesting is talking with the forester about these rocks, these sandstone. He was saying that they are formed by being at the bottom of a river. You know, the weight of the water and the gravel gets compressed, and they're formed at the bottom of a river. So to think that this was underwater, we're talking millions of years ago, is just fascinating. So we're going to exit by the beehives here, behind the hives. They've been pretty active. They're doing well. Hello, bees. When I got stung yesterday, that was not a bee. I just, used the generic term when I said hello, bee. Turns out it was a hornet. It was either a ground hornet or what they call a bald-faced hornet, which are indeed aggressive. I was standing probably 10 feet from the little hole in the ground where they were going into, didn't know about it, and that guy just came out of nowhere and attacked me. So apparently he felt threatened by my presence. So I took care of that hole too, because it was right in front of the barn. I don't need hornets to be right where I walk in and out of the barn. But anyway, Linda said that would not have been one of my bees, and she was right. Those bees are generally pretty docile unless they feel threatened. She also told me not to wear black around the beehives because they think I'm a bear. So I had to get away from there quickly. But they're generally no problem at all. But those hornets, on the other hand, that was a problem. And that hurt. And my ear is still kind of swollen and a little bit numb. It was actually ringing yesterday because they stung me kind of on the inside there. Not a fun thing. So, well, look, that's all I wanted to do was just kind of walk and talk today and show you a little bit more about the property and things that are coming up. Appreciate you being here. I really appreciate your feedback and input. I've learned so much from you, always commenting on things that I say or do in a good way, helpful and productive, and I really do appreciate it. So here we are. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.